just tried to go right up the gut, so to speak. Well, we're going to see if Kungarna can adapt here in this series, as we'll be going to Lijiang Tower, their choice after losing the first map over to Renegades. And yeah, we're going to be seeing, well, quite the showing, I would imagine, as well, both these teams looking to strike hard here.
Well, we are on beautiful Lijiang Tower, at least it tries to be. They have a holographic pond. What more can you ask for here, Jason?
What else could I? Holographic sushi.
You know, that's one of those things where it would keep you slim, if nothing else, where you have beautiful sushi in front of you, you can't eat it.
After being in the US for 3 weeks, I could probably use some of that. But let's talk about like, a little bit of map stats, actually, for you guys at home between these two teams. So we have Kungarna actually an 80% win rate when it comes to playing on control. They're 5-1 on Lijiang Tower. That one loss came last week when they played Renegades and lost 3-0 on Lijiang Tower. So it's kind of worrisome for me that they choose this map where they just lost against them. But then again, it could be a showing of confidence that they fixed what happened last time.
It could be a show that they really want to run Reaper here, where Reaper is now more in vogue with the changes, and he's always pretty good here in Control Center to begin with. And Renegades diving right in, powered by the Reaper, just ruthless. Immediately removing Kungarna.
How many horsepower is in a Reaper, do you think? How much horsepower is on a Reaper, do you think?
At least 500.
At least 500?
500 horses.
Okay.
Minimum. But part of why that was so brutal is that it does look like there was a disconnection there, as you guys could see at the end. So, you know, being down a player does kind of hurt when the other team is trying to run into you like a freight train.
I think it was a rage quit. The first couple of kills came across for Renegades, and Kungarna was like, that's it, we're done. No more.
I don't want to play games with you, ever. That's
my mentality coming in there. Yeah, you probably don't.
Actually, Michael derives his power from Twitter, so he's actually, it was a break. It was calculated.
He's playing the wrong hero, though. If you want to tweet while playing, you have to play Lucio.
Yeah. No one said he was as good as Wins.
That's true. Yeah, Wins is pretty good at that.
Tier 2.
But you know, so Lijiang Tower, like, there's just such a big discrepancy between the two teams when it comes to this, where it's like a 50% win rate for Renegades. Keep in mind, this is within the last 3 months. And 80% win rate from Kungarna. They have 5-1 scoreline on Lijiang Tower for Kungarna, and 3-5 for Renegades on this map, where they're 3-0 on Aces. But for ZP, for me, it has to be that Kungarna looked at the last time they played on this map, and they've had to fix the problems. Like, there's no reason in my head to choose this map.
At least they think they fix the problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is that Kungarna historically has been really confident in their DPS players, particularly their ability to keep Baby Bay safe, give him plenty of room here on this map in particular. And also, I mean, there have been points where Michael has gone to the back line and taken over games, in part because of the pressure coming out there. So whatever it may be, Renegades feels like we just had a few bad games. We're actually good in this. And pro players don't always think that a map they lose horribly is actually a bad map for them.
No, it's true. And it could have been just, well, there's a lot of factors, I guess we can say. Yes. But I want to talk about Tracers a little bit. You talk about Michael, and even in the last map, he was hitting a lot of key pulse bombs. That was a big thorn in their side. Jesus has shown himself to be prolific, and while he had a few spurts there, I really want to see him start standing out a little bit more here.
Well, actually, I think Jesus stood out pretty well in the last setup. I think it was stealthy. It was more at a case where he would start out, not necessarily intro kills for intro fights where you get 2 kills, but it would be mid-fight where he would just get the cleanup, grab 2 kills, and go forward. And it's one of those things where he's just remarkably solid. Even if he's not the guy who goes, oh, he just ruined them immediately, he's still one of the most consistent outputs on this Renegades team.
I think for Michael's case, we did see initially he was going for the pulse bombs on to supports, maybe on the DPS players, and then on the defense there he switched up. He started going for Prima Dolce quite a few more times. You know, hit the easy marks, right? Hit the tanks you can hit because they're so big and beefy that you're not really going to miss. Get that guaranteed kill, right? And then progress to there. I mean, there's a point when you're playing Tracer where it could be an off day for you. I'm not saying it necessarily is an off day for him, but the consistency of hitting a tank versus trying to make a big play and hitting the support, there's a difference. There's a different time. You know, there's different situations when to do that. And I think he realized after the attacking phase that maybe I need to play more of a consistent Tracer, hit these easy pulse bombs, and then depend on my teammates, right? Depend on everyone else to really step up and do what they need to.
Well, the key there is depending on your teammates, right? Because there is risk reward. If you get a pulse bomb on a support, they're going to die unless they get a Zarya's shield or a sound barrier at a very timely manner.
Zarya's shield.
Hey, Zarya, she does
No, I'm just laughing because how often do we see Zarya now?
Not as often as you think, but hey, we didn't see it towards the end of Money.
Today we did indeed.
So it's either that, or if you put on a tank, well, tanks can live through the pulse bomb, so you do need a little bit of extra support for your team generally to bring them low, or you wait for, say, a Reinhardt or a Winston to get damaged a little bit. You throw in the pulse bomb, and then you hope and pray that the support isn't there to top them off before the bomb kills them.
Well, and when you run Lucio and you run Zen, You're not really going to top them off. Unless they have an Ana, then there's like maybe more of a risk, right? Because you can hit a Bio Grenade and it's like, all right, well, that post bomb did practically nothing. But no, yeah, so we have Michael switching things up. I like to see that in a person to recognize how you're playing today. You know, if you're feeling really confident and you can kill the supports, do it. If you can't, at least to internally, you know, or to internalize and be like, yeah, I need to switch up how I'm playing. And I think that's what can really make a good player, a great player, if you can realize how you're doing that day.
Well, it goes back to the, you know, all the adage, you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And that's a case where, you know, I'm just going to fold here. I'm not going to go for the sports anymore. I'm going to do what I actually know that I can do.
Well, country music aside, I want to talk about something a little darker. I get country music can't. No, it doesn't. I want to talk about Reaper as well because we saw a little bit of Reaper this last night.
So punk rock maybe, or
I don't know, man. We could argue actually for a little while about really the best
Death
genre
metal.
That describes Reaper.
Pop.
Pop?
You
don't think
realize
Cla-
under that mask, he's listening to K-pop. He's listening to Girls'
Yeah, if you look
Generation.
very close on a couple of his skins, he's got the little earbuds in there. Yeah. Don't go fact check that, please. No, but
It's true.
Yeah,
It's all true.
It's all true. You heard it here from middle guy and left guy, so that's all you need. But no, Reaper. So we talked about he is very valuable, especially in times when you know where you need to fight on, well, close to the end of maps or wherever the payload needs to get. We saw some Hollywood seconds where the payload had stopped right around that last bend there. Where are some opportunities here that we might see Reaper?
Well, in the control center is that it's a winding area in close quarters, so you never know exactly where the Reaper is going to be. He could be around the corner. Yeah, well, it goes back to the old adage, right? It goes back to the very early Overwatch days where me and Hex were doing the weeklies, and it's just like Hex was just like, check your corners. Well, guess what? Reaper's still behind the corners, and if you don't check them, he will be there and lay in the damage. I would say the bigger part about Reaper, too, is that generally speaking in control, we get fights that really drag on, right? Reaper is another one of those heroes that really gains in power the longer a fight goes. He's very good cleanup, especially as people throw their bodies onto the point, desperately trying to delay. Well, he has a lot of ammunition and a lot of ways of punishing people that aren't giving him the respect in terms of zoning him out.
I'm trying to think. I think Garden maybe will be the only point he's not going to be used on just because of the distance and how long
and
range
where
you have to
people
fight.
I mean, we might see more far
Night
there.
Market though, I feel like if you get the initial control of the point, you can play really aggressive, and then you can hide in those corners with Reaper in those tight areas where you have to come out of like your own spawn. Whether or not you get that first point control could actually cause you to lose the first point if you do have that Reaper, if you don't win the fight.
We'll never forget about the Spectres of Beyblade meta way back in the day where you just put someone on top and it's not just corners. Sometimes death comes from above and it's not just fair. I mean, it's not really justice at that point. It's just outright murder.
No, it's not justice. No, it's something much darker. But another interaction that I think is really interesting to watch, and we've seen a little bit of this, I think we've seen it once on stream, is with some of his new mechanics, is to see how he can work with the nano boost. He is already pretty difficult to kill now that he has that life leech mechanic, but the fact that you can make him just a little bit harder to kill as well as just outputting more damage, and I was mentioning that because Sherlocky is actually playing Ana here, and we've been seeing a lot more Zenyatta lately. I'm wondering if maybe that's factoring into the decision-making here.
Well, I think this is something that Hex and I talked about yesterday on one of the matches, saying that Mei versus Reaper, right, where Mei is kind of like a half tank, so you have 2.5 tanks. Reaper kind of becomes, I want to say, like a third tank now at this rate, and he's has a DPS output of a DPS hero because of the longevity of the extra lifesteal he gets. He doesn't need to kill someone to get the healing. He gets it over time as he's just constantly attacking away. The better you are, the more healing you get, and makes you obviously a stronger hero. So with the nano boost on top of that, you get the damage reduction, you get the extra damage you can do, which then gives you more healing. So it's just kind of, it works on like two different fronts for him. It makes him that hard to deal with.
It really does. I mean, Reaper more than anything else now is more about the long game in fights, where the longer fight goes on, if neither team is going to kill, Reaper is getting more benefit out of his new trait, where before he needed kills to grab orbs. And I think sort of the logic that went in there is that if you've gotten kills, you've probably won the fight. Now, in a fight that's in question, Reaper has staying power. So against a team that's running Reaper, you really want to get a kill early on.
I kind of disagree with the longer the fight goes on, the stronger he gets, because the old passive was the longer the fight goes on, the more chances, the more kills, then you can pick up health orbs. Where now I'd say he's stronger earlier because you have the sustain in the beginning that you can't be bursted down.
He didn't
I'm
lose
looking
any
for the
power
window
over the
before
fight.
anyone dies.
Yeah, he hasn't lost any power, I think is the key in the end. he gained a little bit more power up front. The only other thing I want to talk about real quick before, it looks like we're going back in. We'll talk about it later, maybe.
I'll put that in my pocket.
We'll save it for later. Left guy never leaves any stone unturned. But we are moving back in here, and of course, with the unfortunate disconnect there for Kungarna, they have to give up first relatively easily. But it's control, Jason. Things can change on a whim.
Yeah, especially on this map where you can see people get 9-9-0 anyways, and then come back, take the point away, and full hold themselves until they do go to victory. But meantime, we're seeing Bebe kind of lead the charge for his team, which is a little bit awkward. Mangachu going to be on the Zarya, who has a decent amount of energy actually built up, decent amount of ult% too, 56% for this map.
Renegades, they just keep on the pressure that they're able to get from the early on first fight. Kungarna still a little bit out of sorts as they are failing to get anything done right now here, Jason. The engage was scattered, and the cleanup from Renegades was severe.
Just sitting there, doing his squats, right? Doing his squats,
like, people think that there's some malicious intent there, but the reality is that the players of Overwatch really care about the shape of their lower body.
It does give you great buns. I have experienced that after 2 years of squatting now. But I'm kind of surprised to actually not see a Reaper being played out Kungarna, because Reaper's such a good counter to Zarya. And when Zarya gets charged up, when she gets going, if she gets protection, she can be so hard to do it. The point's being capped in the back. Actually, so that was Michael in the back line looking for some sort of capture, but they're holding them in their own spawn. They're holding this choke point down. They're going to eventually go back to deal with Michael, who can maybe cause some nuisance trying to cap the point. But Kungarna are struggling to get out of this initial spawn.
The problem there with what Michael is doing is that it wasn't a good enough distraction. Renegade just said, okay, Tracer's back there, let's win the 6v5, and they do. They just dive right in, they get what they're looking for, and they're, oh my word, Jesus, bringing the fury. A 4-kill there off the self-destruct, set up, of course, by the Graviton, and this is a bit brutal here so far, Jason.
I think he's going to say he was just saving them for their sins there, as they get a quad kill in the end. And again, they have Zachary with the Death Blossom. They don't have the Transcendence anymore. They have a Sound Barrier, yes, but Sound Barrier won't mitigate the full damage that can come out of this Reaper. But Mangachu already going down. They need Zachary to be the man to maybe go in. He gets an Animus as well. He's going to use that Rainform just to get away. But Prima Dolce and Sherlocky going down. There's no point to really commit this ultimate. You can stay alive on the point as long as you can, because you already have 99%. No need to commit any ultimates here. Then you just die, regroup with your team. And this is what we just said, wasn't it? Team can get 9-9-0, then be turned around last second.
It can be turned around, but now the pressure is on Kungarna. They have no room for error. We'll say, though, good stuff there coming out from Bishu. Playing his own game of anything you can do, I can do better with the self-destruct, but as we get self-destructs, it's always beautiful when things get set up like that, Jason.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know, you're getting the highlight when they go into the end of this game here. Looking for the mitigation, looking for the defense, which is on that ground search. Bebe hasn't used it. That's going to be Zachary going in. The ground search has come in to at least pull him away, but Bishu's only been able to pick up 1 kill off the back of that.
Only gets 1 kill, but it's enough so far for Kungarna. They are beaten and bloody, but no one falls. They're able to win the poke war and bring it right back in. And it was a very nice grab to save there. I mean, it pulled the Reaper out of the fray, and because of the fall off on that ultimate ability, Jason, even just small distances matter a lot.
And one thing we kind of forgot to mention, which I'll get to in a few seconds here, is we do see the fight coming back in again. I think that was a pulse bomb thrown in, which didn't really land onto anyone. Dogman can use that Transcendence to keep them healthy. Jesus does have that that self-destruct, and that's going to be parried in again. This is going to be so deadly. Jesus! Getting himself another kill here as Mangachu picks up 2 himself, and that point ideally should be turned here in just a few seconds.
I'm just imagining them in a team house and high-fiving each other after these combinations because they have been deadly. Renegades throwing Kungarna back decisively. Michael going for the delay attempt, not going to work. And now just the question is, can anyone touch the point? Lucio trying the speed boost right back in, and does touch the point, causes overtime, but it's not going to lead to much in the way of results as Renegades able to just murder Kungarna as they come right back in.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to keep stalling for a little bit of time here. Michael's going to come in to be the one to touch in just a few seconds. The self-destruct should get no one. Don't pull the J-Cap. Thank you guys for not doing that one. And the point eventually will be turned over. The chance of really pulling this one back without any real good offensive ultimates is a little bit too slim. Michael, I mean, it's going to come down to him. Could he hit a big pulse bomb here? He does land it onto, I believe it was Diva, but it's not going to be enough as no one will touch the point. And Renegades will take point 1 on Li Zhang Tower. So ZP, something I wanted to talk about actually during that I've completely forgotten of.
Whisper sweet words into my ears.
I can't whisper right now. This one, just mucus and phlegm all over your face. So what I'm curious about is that what was the best way to deal with the Winston back in the day? And I'm hoping you're going to say the same thing I'm thinking, or else it's going to be really awkward.
Well, back in the day, I mean, you had lots more Zen play back in the day. You throw a Discord Orb on him, have a Reaper, throw in the damage.
Right. And what's Winston's greatest survival trait? It's his shield paired with his jump, right? What does Reaper do really well to shields, up close and personal?
Destroys them.
Destroys them. And we've seen a lot of teams like Tracers, Genjis struggle to kill shields quick enough where if Winston jumps in, he has the ability to get the reset on his jetpack to get away, right? Now with Reaper, if he jumps in towards a Reaper, that shield's gone instantly, and that Winston's certainly as hell gonna die.
Well, it also throws away your Winston timing, right? When Winston's, they play on the edge in terms of their safety nets. Well, you're not used to a Reaper just deleting your shield immediately.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen as often nowadays, and yet now it can. So Renegades, thus far, making the Reaper work. And Jason, we didn't think we would see the Reaper here on the Garden, and yet Reaper, he has a bit of a green thumb.
Yeah, they changed the way they played it, actually coming in through the White Room instead of coming in through Bridge. So they can play with this one, so they can play close range, close proximity. And with the Reinhardt there to protect him, how the hell are you going to stop Zachary from doing this damage? The defense switch is only up so long.
I really like that we're seeing the return of this. Team's experimented with it. You don't have the flanking Reaper, you just have the frontline Reaper. Be the power in the front, be protected by your team, and Zachary is a wall of damage right now that's tearing through Kungarna as they try and get onto this point.
Megachu at 60% on his ultimate already. 90 energy. This man has been doing some serious work here with the shields. I mean, of course, you pair it on to Zachary on the Reaper. He can push up, he can get the energy for you, can Wraith form out right away, and he'll be safe and he'll get you tons of energy. So honestly, really good combo out of Renegades to be prepared for this patch that has come through. But now Kungarna getting close to ultimates, right? We have the Transcendence coming up. You have Bebe with his tack visor. You do almost have the grab, though, for Renegades, which is going to be very deadly. Mangachu's on a slim of HP. He's just going to survive with the help of that sound barrier.
The barrier keeping him alive. Graviton will be in our future soon, and Baby Bay getting really nothing here, just getting isolated in the back by the diva play of Jesus. Does not let Baby Bay do what he wants with the attack visor. Self-destruct coming in over the top, does not quite connect. And Kungarna, they see blood in the water here, Jason. They break it down, and this is a sound barrier that they use to secure this fight. Oh, no.
They should have defense matrix, though. Should be enough. He's actually just stalled for some time here, looking for some teammates to help out as well. He's looking for that Winston, looking for that 1v1 against Remix, and he's not going to get it because Baby Bay's going to be there to help out, as well as, I believe that was Dogman to finish off that kill. Kungarna will turn the point around, but not before getting up 42%. I'm actually curious on your thoughts on why we keep seeing, which I understand why, but the self-destruct Graviton combo instead of seeing like a Graviton and the Death Blossom. I feel like self-destruct can get more kills on its own than a Death Blossom can.
I tend to agree. I think probably is that they're worried about Bishu just nullifying it with the defense matrix and BA. But I think the other thing is that Renegades has practiced the self-destruct Graviton combo a lot, and they're just comfortable with it. It's a comfort thing as well. But it's been working out so far, so why not stick to what's working? Meanwhile, Zachary, Death Blossom up, looking for his way into the backline, but Sherlocky going down, that's going to hurt his source of healing, and doesn't really look like Renegades is going to be able to bring this fight back.
See, I would like to see Jesus actually playing like the Tracer and put Megachu over on the Diva here. Because like once you, I don't know, it depends, right? Because obviously, as you just said, you can use the Graviton self-destruct combo. Zachary, you can look for his own Death Blossoms, but what I'm missing is someone to eliminate Bishu, to take him out of his mech. And they don't really have that, because Reaper attacks so slowly that you can mitigate his damage and his shots with relative ease.
You can indeed, and I would actually like to see Renegades go to their Pharah here.
You can argue Mangachu, right? You can obviously argue him killing the Diva or destroying the Diva, but it doesn't feel like he's been able to do that so far.
Look at this right now, though. Baby Bay just creeping around the back, keeping the option of a flanking tack visor in the wings as Kungarna dealing with this Renegade's dive. Renegades, a little bit bloody here, but they have two support ultimates up. The sound barrier comes in, the Transcendence out here from Kungarna, so both teams using their support power. Baby Bay at the tack visor on the edge, doesn't really get much of anything, but what a shatter! Primo Dulce setting the stage, and Zachary cleaning up with Mangachu. And Jason, we will have both Death Blossom grab and self-destruct up for the next fight.
Yeah, we already know what they're going to do here, so I'm not actually expecting anything fun out of that one. Then again, self-destruct Graviton combo is pretty fun. For me, it's why is Mangachu being given so much energy non-stop? He's been at 90, right? He's been 60 above the majority of this game. Like, they don't have anything to kill him necessarily.
They're obligated by their sponsor. Kungarna has to give Mangachu energy, and it must last for 5 hours. That's just how it works, Jason. I know the legal part. And oh, the Graviton on the side. Is it going to drop people into the ledge? Doesn't really matter if it does or not, as the self-destruct takes down Remix into the back.
Yeah, Zachary's going to hold on to this Death Blossom, so if they do want to fight on point, Bishu's going to be keeping up that defense matrix the entire time. Mangachu should be at decent energy again, I would imagine. He's probably dropped off a little bit here because there hasn't been too much action happening towards that bridge.
It's been 5.5 hours, Jason. He's done.
I mean, we saw you yesterday. I swear you had a couple of those. And you just passed out when we got back to Hex's room.
I really did. I crashed hard, but this fight is underway. Some bears for both sides. Zachary spins the dance of death. Does get one off of it, mostly mitigated by the defensive matrix. It is relatively even here, but there's the explosion towards the back. Kungarna making this fight theirs, and it's a fight they had to win here, Jason. This was do or die, and Renegades has one more fight to turn this.
I think Baby just won that fight for his team because he killed Prima Dolce first in his tack visor, which took the shield down, which then killed Sherlocky. So they didn't have the extra healing over time there. That was really well done by him to actually realize the priority of kills. 96%, as anyone in Detroit Renegades is going to be able to touch the point here. Zachary tries to come with a Tracer. He touches the point, does force the overtime, but his recall was already used.
Oh, Prima Dolce is a sacrifice for Renegades here. Throws his body onto that point, and Baby Bay is cleaning up. It's been a quieter game for him so far, but critical damage has been done to the Renegades. It's only Zachary and Mangachu that can somehow pull this back, but Zachary goes down, and this is looking like Kungarna has run this map right back here, Jason. Gonna be 1-1.
Yeah, no 3-0 gonna be happening here for them this time. The dude tied things up like you said. I did like the comp out of Renegades. You know, I will give them that. It was really nice to see them try to play with the new patch. I'm still looking for McCree though. I'm still want to see some McCree action with the change to his ultimate.
I would love to see some McCree, and it's not just because I was super excited when the McCree t-shirt came out recently. It's just, I'm really not trying to sell out so hard here. This has been one of those days. I think Hex infected my brain. It's
He does have that. I mean, you've been here 4 weeks with him, right?
Yes.
Eventually it'll happen. You have to give in to that man. Now moving on to the third point here.
Long ago, Jason, long ago.
Yeah, I was about to say, like 4 weeks. You've been with him for like years now.
Yeah.
Over a year and a half.
Time flies.
It does. It really does. But now we're going to see the night market come into play here. Looks like Kungarna is going to be sticking to what they've been knowing and using to their best ability, where Renegade's going to be using pretty much the same comp. However, there's a little bit of a switch up. Prima Dolce is going for the Winston instead of the Reinhardt. So letting Zachary play a little bit more on his own and want to be a little bit more aggressive. But they're running the triple tank setup.
They are indeed, and Primo's actually been relatively flexible going back and forth. Again, I would like to see them use the Pharah in this case. We've seen Pharah be really effective in Night Market too. It's something they have in their back pocket, but have yet to unleash. And both teams here, Jason, being relatively passive, not super deep diving yet, but Sherlocky getting caught in the crossfire opens up an opportunity for Kungarna as Baby Bay, all the space in the world is being afforded to him right now, Jason.
Yeah, you're not running a dive comp, and you're running like a Winston who can't really dive in towards him by himself. He's going to need Jesus there, but then when you have that, you have no one to protect Zachary and Mangachu. So we did see a different start out of Renegades. Instead of challenging out in the courtyard right away, they run around the right-hand side, and they try to actually flank around behind them to kind of catch someone off guard. But with, I believe, Sherlocky going down right away, they kind of give that one up. And Renegade's going for a big switch up.
Oh, okay. First, I was going to say we were going to see the Reinhardt Winston. That would have been interesting. But now, Primo Dolce is no longer forever alone. He will have a partner to dive in with him here, Jason, and take a little bit of the heat off as Michael, looking to be a pest in the background. Pulse bomb at the ready. Wants to just flop this one in, and does it connect? It does. Sherlocky, you are out of there. And so are the Renegades here, Jason.
Yeah, they have to back up. But this is something we kind of mentioned, expected coming to this map, right? If you run Reaper in the beginning and you lose that fight, you lost the ability to hold the choke points. You're going to have to switch things up, which is exactly what Renegades have done. Baby now has the attack visor to use. Again, not really being pressured too much, even with the comp switch out of Renegades so far. But then again, Renegades haven't been able to get out of their initial area just yet to spread out and get the dive they want.
Well, Jason, right now, I'm not sure Baby Bay even realizes he's in a competitive match. I think he just went back to training. But bots don't necessarily do that. Winston diving deep in, and maybe Bay just jukes him. He goes to the side and comes back in. There's no pressure on him. It's just, I mean, he treated Primo Dolce like he was a charging bull.
He's got that red flag out as well, just waving it by him as he just misses. And it looks like Jesus will just kill himself. But 65% up for Kungarna, looking very strong in this map. They didn't have to commit really much into that last fight, just the Transcendence and that Primal Rage. Baby still sitting on that visor. I mean, Zachary's about to have Blade. That is the upside for them. The problem is that they're running out of time. They only have like one and a half, maybe 2 fights if you really want to stretch it left.
The problem for Renegades is that they've done really nothing well in this round so far here. So, I mean, Zachary can be a hero, but he already takes critical damage early on, has to heal up. While he's healing up, he can't bring out the blade, and finally he brings it out. Half HP for Zachary, and just melted by Baby Bay in the back. All those pulse rifle shots going into him as Renegades struggling mightily here,
I
Jason.
mean, they took the point during this fight, actually, in the beginning of it, and they're starting to build up some percent, but it's not going to be them holding the point, most importantly. So I think Kungarna are going to be happy with giving that one up and retaking it. Now, 90% for themselves. They do have Michael with the post bomb. He can shut down this next push before it even begins. You can see him off the side. He's looking. He's listening for someone to come around this corner to hit this post bomb.
Throws it out and completely whiffs, bypasses the Zenyatta, and now there's an opportunity for Kungarna to come back in here. They have to rush the point. They have to play around it. They can't play in the outskirts here. That's why the Transcendence comes in early, but they're able to punish Primo, so it's not bad. Renegades, though, they have tools of their own. The Transcendence comes out, but I think it's just late, Jason. It wasn't in time to save key members, and though it's been rough for them so far, Kungarna will be able to hold on.
I want to say Shalaki just got his trance up when he used it too. I want to give him that credit. I didn't actually see because there's too much fighting happening. But yeah, Kungarna, I mean, this is the question we come back to now. They lost 3-0 last week against Renegades on this map. Now they're up 2-1. Has the homework been done? And I think we can safely say yes, sure as hell has been. And considering the patch even hit during this time, it means they even predicted and were adapting on the fly to what Renegades were going to be using.
It's interesting to see the switch-ups here, but just when you think you'd see Zachary on the Genji again, he is going right back onto the Reapers. So, again, my only criticism here of Renegades, well, one of the few criticisms would just be, I don't understand why they don't give the Pharah an attempt here and then just throw Jesus into Baby Bay, try and neutralize him and see how that breaks down. But this is a strategy that Renegades practiced here, Jason, and they are going to stick with it.
Exactly. That's always the question to come back to. When do you play what you practiced, or do you try to do something a little bit different in such a crucial match for both these teams? Looks like the fight's going to immediately break out. As you can see, both teams fighting, but Renegades taking the fight directly to Kungarna, fighting them all on the bridge here. Zachary, that sleeper coming through. Michael's going to be shut down. He's taking a nap time here, while the rest of his team does die.
That's more time for Twitter, Jason. Be optimistic, but sleeping him there is big. It keeps him out of the fight, gives the free kill to Zachary, and Renegades have come in far stronger here on Garden than they did just a round ago.
All right, so Renegades looking, I'd say better. I think they fixed their plan, right? Because, I mean, obviously, the last time they did this, right, they went White Room, they went the White Halls, and then fought on the point with the Reinhardt. Instead, now they fought them directly on the bridge, still running this triple tank comp, and they have the Ana on Shalaki as well. Kungarna with Bishu there, looking to push this bridge. I mean, Baby, like, if they could just get him out, get him safe, he has all the time in the world to do some free damage and to build up that tac visor. And they have nothing that can dive him.
No, they don't, and that's why Baby Bay has had plenty of room to work with here. He's in the back line and only getting damage because he willed it by going up front, but the counter dive comes in from Renegades. Mangachu roasting and toasting here, just diving in at maximum energy. That is quite the Zarya play.
Yeah, 100 energy. He has his grab already in the second fight of the game. I still don't understand how he's been able to build up so much energy, but they still have nothing to really deal with him necessarily. They don't have like the Reaper to just plow through his damage, even the shields that would come up. And they're gonna have to go White Halls. There's just no way they can cross this bridge unless they're expecting to eat this Graviton, which is something you can never count on.
Well, maybe they take the attempt, but Mangachu now holding on to the grab, giving due respect to Bishu, and just cuts through that armor with an industrial laser. Throws out the grab, and I guess Dogman got put in timeout there. That's what that was.
I mean, yeah, he kept the grab away from the rest of his team.
Yeah.
Sorry, the trance away from the rest of the team, and so it kind of works out, but then he gets knocked back into the point by the self-destruct. But in the meantime, Renegade should be able to finish off the most of this, but Prima Dolce's low. Zachary's low as well. He pops the death blossom just to stay alive, to get the extra damage in and the extra lifesteal, but it's not going to work out for him. He's going to fall. Kungarna will take the point back.
Worked out for them in the end, where, I mean, I could see that trade going either way. It kept the Transcends away from the team, but it also kept the Graviton away from his team, so...
Yeah, poor Mangachu, we talked him up, right? 100 energy, he's got a grab already, and then he grabs one.
Like, sometimes you just don't want Zenyatta to mingle with the rest of the players in the server. That's just how it works.
It's a lady killer.
Indeed. Well, in any case, we do have Kungarna holding on to the point right now. Michael, pulse bomb out. Did it stick? It did. Down goes Jur. It's a beautiful strike here by Michael. Feeling a little bit more confident going after the supports, perhaps, and definitely makes life rough for the Renegades as they try and retake here, Jason.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm assuming they're changing comps now because they just nanoed Zachary for kind of no reason there. The rest of the team has fallen. I mean, if you're Michael, if you miss pulse bombs there when they're all coming across the bridge, I'd really question if you should be playing Tracer, to be fair. But either way, we are seeing the switch come in. Jesus on Tracer, Zachary on Genji, Mangachu going over to the Diva, and Shalaki switching over to the Zen. Luckily, they're doing this early enough, right? They're doing it at a point when they can build up ultimates before the match could potentially end.
Right, it's always a sad thing when a team ends up changing heroes at 85% because they're like, now you have no ultimates, and do you really think that's gonna work out? Probably not. For Kungarna, though, they take down Primo immediately. Renegades on the back burner, just not able to get a solid engagement here. And it's been Michael's playground, Jason, for the last few fights. He's been in the back line, getting consistent damage, and whether it be Pulse Bomb or not, it's been messing with Renegades, who now are soon going to be on their final fight, Jason, to try and win this map.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily for Zachary and Jesus, though, they built up like 70% for each in that first fight, or in the only fight they've had since they have switched heroes over. They're up against a Trance, they're up against a Pulse Bomb, they're up against a Visor, and if they go through a bridge, they're up against a Primal Raging Monkey who can just knock them off. This is going to be so dangerous if Remix wants to switch it up and go for it, but instead he holds on to it for now.
He had good rage control, Jason. He has been visiting a doctor for that, but you see Baby Bay knocked fully out of the fight by that Winston play. Zachary trying to even it here. Dragon Blade into the back, gets one support, but that's going to be all. It's an even fight between both teams, but Kungarna is getting poked down heavily, Jason, which means Renegades is more likely to turn this to their favor.
I think they could do it. Jesus does land the Pulse Bomb, the Miracle Pulse Bomb on the Remix there, picking up that kill. The Renegades do have at least one healer, Gill, who's going to be left alive there. In the meantime, they're still picking up all these kills. Kungarna are losing too many people. Bishu, I think the last man alive on the actual point, will eventually be desuited and eventually killed off here as this point will be turned over to Renegades. 88% now, and there's no ultimates on Kungarna to stop this.
This round will come down to one final fight. Remember, Kungarna desperately needs the map victories here, Jason, because they are in a very tight race with C9 for the spot. And oh, Michael just decapitated Zachary, diving right in. 2 kills here from Renegades, and the last moment effort here from Kungarna does not appear to be bearing too much fruit, but there's still an outside shot.
Yeah, I mean it is, but Dogman's gonna be focused down. He's getting healed up though, as you can see him being pushed around towards the left-hand side. That Power Grenade is keeping him healthy, but Zachary's coming in with the blade. He's got 1 HP, but he's still alive. He's still causing some distractions. Bishu's just gonna flatten him like roadkill on the street, but there's too many kills for Renegades. Kungarna will ideally be giving up this point.
Renegades holding strong here when they must. Kungarna applying the pressure. The will to survive! Michael with the massive Pulse Bomb to open that up. Kungarna not have it here just yet. Baby Bay opened the door, and now he is slamming it in Renegade's face with that follow-through. Kungarna retakes the point, and that might have just given them the map.
I think Michael's going to go straight to Twitter after this. So I'm going to check my phone because they just pulled off a 3-1 victory on Lijiang Tower, where they maybe shouldn't have been able to pull that one back. But, I mean, I know they say when you cross the street, kids, you got to hold hands. Well, there's a Pulse Bomb involved. You got to get away from each other, like me being ill right now.
Yeah, when there's Pulse Bomb involved, it's sort of like you said, it's me with you and me. I'm just sort of inching closer to the Gill as the day goes on, and then you're going to be far right guy or something.
It's fine. It's fine. I coughed on your pillow before we got into the studio today.
Oh. The truth comes out.
But this guy.
Just looking at Renegades, it seems like when something's not working for them, their immediate reaction is change composition. And I feel like maybe, I mean, you need to be agile, but I don't think that the Reaper composition they were running was really the problem. I feel like even on the time when they played it on Night Market, they rotated through that side hallway into the courtyard area, and that's not where you want to fight. I feel like if you're a Reaper, you fight on that point, make them come to you, and that way you can actually get off the maximum amount of damage. And then there at the end, they